Simon Lviv, aka the Tinder Swindler. Hello, ladies. I had to come on today and shoot you this video to give you some of my thoughts around this documentary. So, if you haven't seen me before, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Shan Merchant. I'm a love coach for single female entrepreneurs. I usually hang out over in the world of Facebook, but actually I'm going to be coming more and more onto my YouTube channel. So if you like my content, it would really help me out if you would subscribe to my channel. That'd be super awesome. So anyway, I just wanted to come on because I watched the Netflix documentary this morning. Obviously, it's the hot topic at the moment in the dating world. It's across all the newspapers. This man that has actually conned and swindled numerous women around the globe out of, in some cases, up to hundreds of thousands of pounds of their money. Some of that's been their life savings. Some of it has been loans that they took out. And so I just wanted to talk about this. The first thing that really struck me when I started watching this documentary was actually that, how single women are going to feel about this actually. Like, how are you going to be feeling about this when already many women bring anxiety and some fear into internet dating? Like, is this person really who they seem, who I think they are, or who they seem? Is this person trustworthy? And, firstly, what I wanted to say is I wanted to share some tips for you today so that you can feel safer, feel more secure in yourself, and continue to make empowered choices in your own dating. So the emotional technique that Simon is using is love bombing. This is a form of emotional manipulation, usually used by narcissists. So someone who has more of a devalued, empty self with this big, grandiose exterior. And the whole point of their behavior actually is around wanting to feel more powerful, get admiration, get their self-esteem boosted, and in some ways manipulate you to give you things that they want, like, for example, in this case, money to fund his extravagant lifestyle. So firstly, the thing is there's some very simple things that you can do to really cut down the likelihood that you are going to be love bombed. And, if you have been love bombed and you are watching this, this video today, I just really want to say that you are not alone. So many successful, intelligent women that I know personally as clients and as friends have actually been love bombed in some form. And so it doesn't mean that you're stupid. It doesn't mean that you... that this is going to continue to happen to you. It's just the important thing to know is that there are certain things that you can do to really slow down the process so that you can get to know someone's true nature. And so to explain a couple of key points for you today, I wanted to really focus on Cecilia. And, I actually, firstly, I'm saying this with the caveat that I watched the movie and I also watched a long documentary that Cecilia was on a couple of years ago. And nothing I'm saying here is in terms of judgment. Everything I say is with compassion and empathy, because my heart really goes out to her. Actually, she's had a really tough time. And this could have been one of my clients sitting opposite me telling me this story. So everything is said with love and compassion. And really, I just want to help you in your own dating journey, just to make sure that you meet high value men, and actually that you yourself don't get don't have the experience of being love bombed. So the first thing that I would say is that the main characteristic about love bombing is that it's very intense in the beginning and things go really fast. And so the first thing I want to say, and I say this to all of my clients, go slow in the beginning, because there's a couple of things that happen in the beginning, like, when you're first meeting someone, often it can feel very intense in the beginning. And for some women who have had childhood wounding, for example, things have happened in their own relationships with their parents as children, so they can get quite a lot of chemistry and magnetism when they first meet someone, which is an unconscious attraction. And so there's something trying to be worked out there. And so even though this is normal and you can expect some degree of this in any of your relationships, because this is just our unconscious seeking healing in ourselves, what I always recommend is to go super slow in the beginning, because you really just want to get to know someone. And just having this this view of this behavior pattern of how you go into dating will really help you as well in case you run into a love bomber, because what love bombers do is they go in really fast and really intense. So a great thing to do is just to go, okay, so I'm going into dating with a playful, interested attitude. I want to really enjoy myself. I'm interested in getting to know different types of people, and I'm going to take it really slow in the beginning because I really want to get to know this person. And you can't get to know someone, and in the period of, say, the first couple of months, in 0 to 3 months, I would say you don't really know someone. So take your time getting to know someone. So with Cecilia, things went super fast in the beginning, so fast. We see in the first part of her story, she goes on a coffee date with him. The coffee date lasts 40 minutes. He invites her on a plane to Sofia in Bulgaria. She ends up going. She's feeling some degree of safety actually in the beginning because she meets his whole team. She meets his PA, he's a woman. She meets his ex-partner with their baby, who tells him that he's still a great father, even though they're not together. So she gets all of these like good feedback from him. But think of that, it's really intense, isn't it? Like, it's quite overwhelming to all of a sudden be invited into this part of his life, and she's only met him for 40 minutes. So then she goes on the plane with him on this private jet, swept away because she's really not used to this world. And then they spend a night in the hotel together. She gets intimate with him. And again, I really want to recommend to hold off on getting physically intimate with someone until you really get to know them. Because the thing is, and this is the truth, we have been wired over millions and millions of years. This is our evolutionary psychology. When we sleep with someone, we become emotionally attached to them. So we're hardwired to attach. So really, so that you can get a good feel for the type of person that you're starting to get to know, don't sleep with them until later on. And I would try and hang out till between 2 and 3 months, definitely, because whenever you start to sleep with someone, it brings a lot of intensity in. So, really try and like slow it down in the beginning. So then she goes back to London the next day, and then straight away the texts come in. There's a lot of attention and affection early on. I miss you. Like, he doesn't even know her. And so, there's a lot of like, excessive attention, lots of texting. And I see this actually a lot with my clients that have a love bombing experience, actually, is that they get into this like very intense texting, FaceTiming relationship, but they're not actually seeing much of the person in the physical. So you want to actually be going on physical dates slowly over time in different situations to really get to know to get to know the person, and you can't get to know the person just over text or phone calls or FaceTime, even though it feels like you know them, which is like, it's like a pseudo relationship. And then trust and connection is really accelerated that way, but there's really no ground for it. So I really, really want to encourage you not to do this, to save getting to know someone for the physical dates and to really set your boundaries early on. So if someone comes in fast at the beginning, it's up to you to pace, to slow it down, to set your boundaries. You can't be texting all day because you're working. Do you know what I mean? So just put those boundaries in early on. And someone who's a love bomber actually won't like the boundaries, because actually they are looking for someone that doesn't set those boundaries, actually, because they are coming from a place of intent of more manipulative and controlling, wanting to control in some way. So I really, really want to stress here that I don't want you to go into dating thinking that the world is unsafe, because actually, the thing that I promote heavily is like to really do your own inner work. So really strengthening your connection to yourself. So that means your personal history, you understand your childhood and previous relationships, and how that means that you might be more susceptible to certain behaviors right here, right now, as you were dating. So, like you might be, let's say you felt very unloved and neglected as a child. And so you've got this deep part of you that feels really, really unworthy. Then if you're not conscious of that, then you would be susceptible to a love bomber who comes in and gives you all these compliments and showers you with love. Because that's what they do. They're flooding you with love, actually, so that you get that connection with them, trust them, and then it either flips and turns into something more manipulative or abusive. So it's really, being committed to your inner work, having that relationship with yourself, working through what you need to work through, knowing the signs of the healthy masculine, actually, because you also see later on in the documentary where they're 1 month in and he's saying to her, I really want to live with you. Can you find us an apartment? I think they were looking in London, but he gave her a 15K a month budget, and she was like, doing all these Facebook FaceTime videos. And they were looking through all these apartments. And the thing is, as a man in his healthy masculine, he's going to want to go slow because he's intentional, but he's also like considered and discerning. He really wants to get to know the woman. He wants his interest to build up over time, and his interest builds over time. He wants to get to know you more. So it's a much more slow and measured response rather than a whirlwind that sweeps in out of nowhere and just like wants all of your attention. Okay, so it's really, really important to know. And so, you know, for you, in terms of to feel safe when you are dating, it's to do your own inner work, and so to understand what type of unconscious attractions you have in a relationship, really and starting to heal those, because there's a lot you can do in your own inner work. Then also being super aware of, you know, is there a lot of intensity in the early stages of this relationship? Is it going really fast? Okay, I'm going to be curious about that. I'm going to really slow things down. I'm going to put my boundaries in early and see the impact of that. And the other thing that I would say is just being aware of the pacing and being aware of the qualities of the healthy masculine man, actually. The fact that he is discerning and you're discerning too, you know, so you really want things to unfold slowly together. And then the last thing that I really want to point out to you is your intuition. So really relying on your intuition. And, you know, for some women, whatever experience they've had in the past, and this can sometimes be in childhood, they learned not to trust their intuition. And so there's a disconnection there. And so again, that's part of your inner work, to start to trust in your own intuition, to trust in your body wisdom, to remember in these stages of early dating to check in, slow down. How am I feeling? Is there anything that feels off for me? You know, so I want to give you an example actually. Is like often what I see is that, you know, when women are really swept away in the early stages, they've ignored their intuition. They've lost contact with that body wisdom, and maybe they had it and they've just disconnected because they got swept away, or maybe they never had it. But I do remember actually a friend of ours many, many years ago, she actually had a relationship with a love bomber. And I remember when I first met him, we went on a dinner together. And I was really struck by how intense he was. He was very grandiose, these big sweeping statements of how he wanted, you know, how he wanted his life to be with her. And he'd only just met her. And I remember feeling very uncomfortable myself, thinking, wow, you know, there's something sort of off there. Why, you know, he's very, very intense. And then I looked at my friend and I could tell that my friend was also feeling off, because she was sort of having to like manage these, like the way that he was talking and the speed and it was just, there was an intensity around him, and I could see that she was struggling to hold it actually. It was as if she'd known, you know, and this is where your education piece comes in really, really important. So really knowing the signs of a love bomber, and I will actually do a later video where I go over the signs of love bombing, but really understanding the signs of love bombing, and then really, really paying attention to your intuition and like, you know, does anything feel off here? How am I feeling? Checking into my body, remembering to go slow. Okay, so all of this feels really, really good, almost too good to be true, which is actually a sign of a love bomber, when we think, oh my God, this man seems perfect. And so then again, like I really don't want you to come into this with a fearful mindset around this, but really just thinking, okay, I'm going to really keep my feet on the ground and I'm going to go slow, and I'm just going to let things unfold, and I'm going to let this thing unfold, and I'm not going to be seduced by these. Maybe I might have some grandiose offers of like, you know, he hardly knows me and he wants to take me away for the weekend, or, you know, some of the things that happened to Cecilia actually in the documentary, where I think she was really, really blown away by the fact he flew to Oslo for Valentine's Day. And she was like, oh, you know, he's a super busy businessman, and they were nearly a month in, and he'd done this really extravagant gesture, flowing in on his private jet. Yeah, of course, she, you know, any woman would be blown away by that. But really, really, like, you know, just reminding yourself, you know, I'm only 1 month in. I really want to slow this down. I want to get to know more of this person, because actually, when you think about it, from her story, she didn't actually spend that much time with him. You know, physically, because he was so busy as a businessman. He was always away, and so it's really just remembering this, and remembering to slow things down, to make sure I'm seeing them in the physical, to understand that I never really know someone until I reach 3 to 6 months. That's when their real personality starts to unfold. So anyway, that's all I've got for you today. I really hope you found that helpful. Give me a comment and tell me if anything of that resonated with you. And I'll see you all again here soon. Bye for now.